If you're moving to St. Louis and you want to live in the middle of the city, in the heart of everything going on, then downtown St. Louis could be exactly what you're looking for. Now, it is a very different market compared to the rest of the St. Louis area. I don't mean that sarcastically. It is a pretty different market. So we're gonna talk about that, the market, what it has to offer, and what you should know prior to moving here if you're interested in living in downtown St. Louis. So let's get right to it. Hey there, welcome to the channel or welcome back. My name is Jacob Peistrup. Now, if you want that urban setting, you want to be in a city in the thick of it, of all the action, downtown St. Louis is definitely it. Just don't get shot. I'm joking-ish. Now, if you're moving to St. Louis, whether it's the city or the suburbs, if you want some help with that process, my team and I are licensed realtors here. Send us an email, send us a text if you want help buying a house or buying a condo. We love it. We love hearing from the YouTube community. That is my favorite part of my job. So if you want help, let's get in touch. So downtown St. Louis is kind of its own neighborhood. You could say there are four parts of it, but people don't always, say the names in conversation. They'll just say they live in downtown. But if you want to get technical, you could say there's downtown West, Carr Square, and Columbus Square. Together, that's kind of the whole downtown St. Louis area. Now, really, the quick synopsis of living in downtown St. Louis, lots of really cool, lofty condos. Great food, great drinks, lots of fun places to just go out and have a good night out with friends. Lots of historic buildings and a couple newer ones. Museums like the City Museum or the Aquarium, Union Station, all that, lots of fun stuff. There's the Enterprise Center for concerts and hockey games, and there's the Dome at America Center, again, for just really big events going on. Trust me, there is a bunch to do and see. I can't cover it all in a 10-minute video, but if you want a bunch of choices for places to go out, fun things to do, fun things to see, downtown St. Louis is it. You got bars, restaurants, shops, museums, parks. Hello, Gateway Arch. There is a lot of stuff going on in downtown St. Louis. Now, if you're living somewhere around downtown, Washington Avenue, aka Wash Ave, this is kind of the main artery going through downtown. There is a bunch of stuff to do on Wash Ave. Condo buildings, bars, restaurants, shops, like all sorts of stuff. You will hear people say Wash Ave, so if you're wondering what that is, it's just short for Washington Avenue. Again, there is a shit ton to talk about in downtown St. Louis. I cannot talk about all of it, so bear with me in this video. Now, living in downtown, if you love a good industrial loft, you will fit right in downtown. There are a bunch of really cool, lofty industrial buildings for apartments and condos you'll see in this part of town. Now, this is downtown, so pretty much everything here is gonna be an apartment or a condo. You're not really gonna see single family houses or townhomes. This is all pretty much gonna be, units within these bigger managed buildings. So if you wanna live in a place with all the amenities, a lounge, gym, rooftop pool, and deck, you will find that very easily in downtown with a bunch of these really cool loft buildings. Like, these lofts are beautiful and they're so cheap, I'm not even kidding. Like, you can find a solid 2-bedroom condo, between 1,000 and 1,500 square feet, between 150 grand and 250 grand. Like, this is not a ridiculously expensive part of town. Now, I realize what's inexpensive versus what's expensive is very subjective, but this is coming from the guy who did undergrad in Boston and holds a real estate license in Massachusetts. You want expensive? Boston is expensive. St. Louis, and especially downtown, compared to what you might think, it really is not a pricey part of town. Now, if you're looking for more than a 2-bed, maybe a 3-bed or a 4-bed, okay, you might be spending 500, 600, or 700 grand for a 3,000 square foot penthouse in downtown St. Louis, but this is not the part of town where you're gonna see these ridiculously expensive multi-million dollar condos. You'll see that in the Central West End, but really downtown St. Louis is not one of the most expensive parts of St. Louis. Just to give you an idea, there was one penthouse that just sold a couple months back. This was a triplex penthouse, like 3,200 square feet, and it sold for $555. Like, that is a whole house in the suburbs, or it's a whole triplex penthouse in downtown St. Louis. It is not a very expensive part of town. Now, the thing with that, like I said, St. Louis and specifically downtown is just a very different market these days. So compared to the insanity and the madness happening in the suburbs right now, downtown is really a much more mild market. Things are not moving as quickly as the suburbs. So even after COVID and everything, like, it's just not this crazy hot and fast-paced market because there's not a ton of demand for these condos in downtown St. Louis. Now, yes, there were actually a couple multiple offer situations for these condos, but for the most part, if you're a buyer for these condos in downtown St. Louis, there's not a lot of competition these days to live in downtown St. Louis. And you've got a bunch of choices for these buildings. So if you're looking at some online, you might be looking at Lucas Lofts, Ventana Lofts, the Edison Building, the City Museum Lofts, Alexander Lofts. Like, there's a bunch of these buildings to pick from in the downtown area. Like, if your ideal aesthetic is one of those lofty, high ceilings, floor to ceiling windows, brick and beam kind of condos, downtown is where it's at. Like, that is all you will see with these condos in downtown St. Louis. I love a good loft, so that is why I love some of these condo buildings in the city. Trust me, for what you get in downtown St. Louis for 150 grand, if you think the thought hasn't crossed my mind before of, hey, let me buy one of these and just turn it into a sick Airbnb, I've thought about that a lot. The thing is, laws, regulation, and the HOA restrictions on these buildings are something you gotta consider, so I haven't done it yet, but trust me, I love a loft more than anyone. Like, I am obsessed with some of these lofts you'll find in downtown St. Louis. So if that is your kind of aesthetic, if that's what you're looking for, downtown St. Louis is as good as it gets. And I mean, honestly, the only reason I don't live in one of these buildings in downtown is because for me, that would not be a very strategic move because it's not convenient for me personally. So I need to be somewhere in the middle of where all of my clients end up looking. And from the YouTube channel, it's usually a mix of the city, the county, and St. Charles County. So if I wanted to live in the city, I would be very central to, downtown, Central West End, and the eastern part of St. Louis County. But I don't want to have a 45-minute drive to get to Lake St. Louis or get to Wentzville, and I don't want to have that drive every single day. So I need to be somewhere in the middle, but like, if your whole life is around downtown or it's in the city, for you, that could be a very convenient location. For me personally, it is like the opposite of convenient, and I don't want to deal with the traffic, but like, I would be living in one of these lofts because that is my kind of aesthetic. The kind of vibe you'll see in downtown is usually a mix between these really cool lofty buildings. They've been updated, they've been renovated, and now they're luxury condos. And you'll see some of these older, dilapidated buildings. No one lives in it, it's kind of boarded up. And then you'll see a couple of these newer buildings. There's a luxury apartment complex right next to Busch Stadium. You got a mix of all that going on in downtown St. Louis. There's the new, there's the old, but they made it new, and then there's just the old falling apart, like boarded up windows. So you see all of that in downtown. And like I said, if you're looking for nightlife, like, downtown is kind of where it's at. Even if you don't want to stay in downtown, you could go to Central West End, you could go to Soulard, Lafayette Square, Tower Grove. Like, you can go to a bunch of other areas that still have a thriving bar scene, restaurants, like just fun stuff to do. And if you're in downtown, Ballpark Village, AKA BPV, is going to be kind of your go-to want-to-know destination as far as bars, drinking, events, parties, like all that kind of stuff. Ballpark Village is kind of the go-to complex for entertainment. Now, if you're moving to downtown St. Louis and you're thinking about, the different aspects of living there, some negatives you got to prepare for. So, crime and homelessness. Yes, be prepared for that in the downtown area of any city. Now, the National Association of Realtors does not like me talking about crime rates and statistics and giving my opinions on that. So what I can do is provide you with the links, the resources. They want me to tell you to do your own research, whatever that looks like, whether that's looking at demographics, police reports, whatever it is. Niche.com, another great one. Yeah, the crime, the homelessness, those are usually like the top two things I hear from people as far as pros and cons of living in the downtown area. Now, if you're living in downtown St. Louis, yeah, it's great, it's convenient, it's beautiful. There are some cons you want to think about. So, whether it's crime or homelessness, this is the downtown area that goes for a lot of other cities, so not just St. Louis. Crime is a valid concern. Do your research, consult police departments, look into the demographics and the crime maps. Like that is a big part of, living in downtown. The homelessness, you will see that in any major city. We're not as bad as San Francisco, thankfully, but there are some issues. If you don't like traffic, if you don't like the crowds of people and the tourists going out getting drunk and partying, you're living in downtown, so that's part of what you get. If you don't like the crowds of people, don't live in an area where all the bars and nightlife are, where people go get trashed on the weekends. Think about it. And be prepared for the traffic when there's a Cardinals game or a concert or a Blues game or any event or parade or, something happening in downtown. Be prepared for that. Think it through, be realistic because you are in the downtown area of St. Louis. So if you're someone who likes the idea of it, but you're gonna get sick of that after a year or two, maybe don't move there. But if you're someone who knows what it's like to live in the middle of a city and that's your style, then great. Downtown has a lot to offer, but I'm just saying, be realistic. I know I piss people off with what I say in my videos. I don't really care. Downtown has pros and cons that go with living in the downtown area of any big city. So just be realistic. Walkability. Depends on where you're going. I mean, thankfully, St. Louis has a pretty organized block system, so it's easy to look at a map. But as far as where you're walking to, St. Louis isn't always the best city for not having a car. Again, it depends on where you're going, where you're living, and where you're working, but just think that through. If you're expecting a super walkable downtown area, depends on the area. And I'm sure you like the idea of living right next to the Gateway Arch and the bars and all the fun stuff going on, but if you're gonna get sick of the people and the traffic and the crowds after a year or two, maybe don't live in downtown. But if you're someone who knows what you're getting into by living in a very urban setting, then great, downtown can definitely offer what you're looking for. And the reason I bring all this up is because these are the conversations I have had and that I have on a regular basis with clients moving to the area. Is the city a good fit for you? Do you want downtown or do you want another area like Tower Grove, Central West End, Soulard? What's your personality? What kind of vibe are you looking for? Because there's a lot to pick from in St. Louis, and you don't want to pick the wrong area and then get stuck there and want to move somewhere else a year or two down the line. But if you are looking to move to the St. Louis area and you want some help and some support with that, send us an email, send us a text message. Whatever works for you, let's get in touch. Let's help you with that search for the right house or the right condo for you. Like I said, downtown has a bunch of great stuff to offer. There are some realistic cons you want to be aware of, but really, this is the fun middle of the city. You got everything going on. So if that is your lifestyle, downtown St. Louis is just that. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Hope you take care. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next video right here on the Living St. Louis channel. Take care.